What about the Australian Retailers Association coming out today, Barnaby, and saying that the referendum had added a new dimension to customer aggression and antisocial behaviour in the retail environment, exasperating concerns about the mental and emotional well-being of some frontline retail workers. Now, I don't know whether this quote is a Rorschach test where you're supposed to think there's angry no supporters everywhere yelling at anyone in a Yes T-shirt, or there's a bunch of Yes people that are giving it to anyone who they think looks old, pale and stale. But regardless of how passionate we are about this issue, Barnaby, do we need to calm down ever so slightly if the people who run the shops of this country are saying, can you have this argument at home and not in aisle 4, please?
Look, I would say 100%, Paul. Do not get angry with the lady who's checking out your goods, or the guy monitoring the shop, or the people who are staff in the shop. They are not the reason that a major organisation has decided to take a position in our nation's politics, as Bunnings have, as the major supermarkets have, as Qantas has. You should get angry with the people. Go to the shareholders' meeting and say to the corporate board, why are you spending your money on my personal decision? Why are you outside of your lane? Why are you outside of your rails? Why don't you concentrate on making money so that my shares get the best possible return? But that is not a decision that is made by staff. Many of the staff agree with you. They are no voters.
Yeah.
So don't get angry with people who ultimately would agree with you. But you have every right to go to the shareholders' meeting and line up Mr. Goyder and line up the head of Wesfarmers and line up all the others and say, why did you decide to use my money for your personal agenda, not my views?
Again, Matt, what gives me the Harry hits here, I'm trying to swear not as much, hi mum, which is, if these people are earning $26 an hour, right? These people are not running the company. It is the equivalent of having a go at the bank teller for how much the interest rate is that's set by the Reserve Bank and of course the overall money markets here. But also you can see that there is a level of aggression that's starting to play out in normal conversations where I've got to say people obviously assume that, I want to talk about this all weekend, every weekend. I don't. I had a conversation with a dear friend today who said she's literally pulled in both directions. One half of the family is hardcore no, one's hardcore yes. Where those people ultimately end is going to be the whole campaign, right? It's either going to be rejection of the idea or go with the vibe, right? And whoever makes the run in the next 4 weeks, well, they're going to get the result that they see. But again, while Darwin, pretty relaxed place, the fact that you can have a couple on the way home, believe it or not, you can have one open in the Northern Territory, completely legal, different chilled place. But do you see people avoiding the conversation for the fear of their head being bitten off?
I'll be perfectly honest with you, Paul. I haven't even seen a lot of people having the conversation here, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm sure that those conversations are happening in some places. I certainly haven't seen tensions boiling over at the supermarket or at Big W when people are going to do their shopping. I think the other point I'd make about the corporates, I think they've actually hurt the Yes campaign more than they've helped it. I mean, I think when these big corporations get on board with something like this, they're probably doing it for their own PR than they are actually doing it, to try to get the cause over the line itself. And I think it's kind of backfired in a little way. There's so much anger out there at, some of those companies like Qantas or even the big mining companies, and so, when they see them align themselves with one side of this debate, I think it hurts that side of the debate rather than helps them. It was interesting as well talking to Kevin Gallagher from Santos last week. He said, we're not taking a side in this. We're more interested in doing practical things that we can, to help the Aboriginal people, the traditional owners that we work with in our everyday line of business.
But also, a mention was made before about Warren Mundine and his appearance yesterday on Channel 2. Well, he tried some mop-up today on 2GB. This, in part, is what he had to say.
What did you mean yesterday, if you don't mind me asking, when you said that amongst other things, Australia Day should change?
Look, that was said in 2014. It was a comment I made in regard to this thing. And my answer now is, look, and I said it on Insiders that I can't see it changing. It won't change, and because there's a massive problem about when are they going to hold it. And so, and I also said that the 26th of January is always going to be important because that's when Arthur Phillip come into Sydney Harbour and set up the colony that become New South Wales, which become Australia, and we've got the greatest nation in the world here coming from that.
All right, now, Barnaby, one last question before we move away from the Voice, give people some relief, then we're back with Jacinta in a few minutes' time to have her say on all of this. It feels like we're now in this phase where we've obviously gone through the great damage that people who are yes campaigners like Marsha Langton have done by calling the no campaign, and I would suggest, by extension, the inference about its supporters being potentially racist. We've heard all that Thomas Mayo's had to say about the need for unions to strike up for yes. We've also seen a change in the advertising, and we even saw from Noel Pearson yesterday an attempt to, I think, sort of swing things to say, oh, thankfully we're away from Parliament, it's not about politicians, and now we're into the reasserting of the vibe. How will the no campaign, or your part in the no campaign, start to continue to make the same argument that's been successful for months but might now start to get swamped in the final run to the line?
Well, there's no doubt about it. They got big union money, big business money, from the banks to the major supermarkets to airlines behind them. They've got government. They've got the government of Australia behind them. But what we have behind the no campaign is logic. Australians don't mind a constitution that has never given us a civil war, never given us a major racial breakdown, has given us peace and prosperity, has given us the most egalitarian nation on earth. And I mean more egalitarian than New Zealand or Indonesia or anybody else around us. And to turn that on its head, to turn that completely on its head, to bring in a racially based clause for a selected body in perpetuity with right over the executive, it's anathema. To bring in a clause based on this, on the colour of your skin. I mean, in Australia in 2023, are you serious? And Paul, that's what's going to win. That is what is going to win more than anything else. The money can pour out of the ceilings. It can bubble in over the grates. And what you'll have in this debate is a loud yes and a loud no. But I tell you what you're seeing is a very big, quiet no. And that's what I see everywhere. And people want the 14th of October to arrive. They want to get their vote out of the way and they want to move on because this has made them feel dirty. They don't like it and they want to move on. We never believed in Australia that we'd have to deal with this.